I'm feeling lonely here, Dmitry. No, it's all good. It's all good. That's excellent. Thanks so much for being here. We all know that smartphones are truly a global phenomenon right now. We just saw a $4 smartphone launch in India. We don't know if that's really legit yet or not, but you know it's there. And we know that there's lots of fast-growing local ecosystems in the global overall ecosystem. So we want to take some time to explore what that means for publishers who are in the mature ecosystems, publishers who are in the growing ones, and also app publishers who want to expand globally. What's that mean? Dmitry, can you maybe start by giving us a bit of an intro into you and Mail.ru and what you're doing?
Yeah, so Mail.ru is a holding company which owns Russian largest social networks, email portal. We are the biggest online games publisher in Russia. And we serve advertising on all our platforms from a single platform called MyTarget, and I manage this platform.
Excellent. Thanks so much for being here. Charles, can you introduce yourself as well as your company?
Yeah, it's okay. I'm Charles from Mobvista, and actually Mobvista is founded in 2013, and right now it's growing to the world's leading mobile advertising platform. Yeah, and we can provide the one-stop advertising and monetization solutions, not only to the Chinese advertiser, but to the global developers. And actually, in the past 2 years, we're pursuing a aggressive overseas growth strategy. And in this year, I think we announced 2 acquisitions. One is, as you know, NativeX, and we acquired NativeX in February. And NativeX is a US-based mobile advertising platform focused on the video advertising and native ads.
Excellent.
Yeah, and also, yeah, let me continue. Yeah, it's a little longer.
Good, go ahead. You're all
I
good.
just want to introduce more about my company. Yeah, and also we announced another acquisition in last week, and actually it's a Denmark company. It's called Game Analytics. It's actually a behavior analytics company. Yeah, for the global developers. Yeah, so this acquisition is actually helping Mobvista developing a multi-dimensional and global ecosystem of the mobile traffic.
Excellent.
Yeah, so actually in the last year, we are listed in the Chinese capital market with around 1 billion valuation. And to be honest, our goal is to be the best mobile advertising platform in the world.
Excellent, as every advertising platform should have as a goal. Very, very good. So let's start with you, Charles. China, we obviously see that. We see a very fast-growing, hot, local mobile ecosystem and lots of opportunity. But you've talked about how it's actually probably more competitive than what we have here. Can you talk about that a little bit in some more detail? More competitive than the US, more competitive than Western Europe? What do you mean when you say that?
Actually, China, I don't think is a growing market. Right now, it's a mature market, just like the US and Europe, because the penetration rate for the smartphone is, I think, at least 80%. Yeah, so it's a very crowded market. Yeah, and that's why I think in the past 3 years, there's a lot of the Chinese smartphone manufacturers and the mobile internet company is looking for the opportunity in the overseas market. Yeah, and they choosing the India and the Southeast Asia and the South America for their, I think, the one-stop station, to sell their business. Yeah, because it's too crowded in China.
Interesting, interesting. So obviously you've been doing that. You bought a number of companies recently, including NativeX and the one that you mentioned in Europe as well. What have you learned about entering foreign markets from those acquisitions?
Actually, I think starting from 2013, many Chinese mobile internet company is looking for the opportunity in the overseas market. because actually no matter the large company and the small company, I think for the large company, just like the Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba, they already have a big market share in the domestic market. So if they are looking for the business growth, I think the overseas market is the choice.
Yes.
Yeah. And for the the small company, they have no choice. They are more eager to the overseas. Yeah, because the market already been occupied by this giant company. Yeah, so actually Mobvista is growing with the trend of the Chinese companies going to the overseas. Yeah, we're helping the Alibaba and the Baidu and also a lot of the startup to do the user acquisition globally. So right now, actually, we are not only have the Chinese inventory, the mobile traffic, but also a lot of the US and the UK, Europe, and Southeast Asia.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. So if you're a big Chinese company, you grow overseas because there's no room left to grow in China. And if you're a small Chinese company, then you go overseas because it's less competitive.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. If companies want to come into China, and we're going to go to Dmitry in just a moment, if companies want to come into China, and we have seen some Western companies do that, what advice do you have for them?
I think even the Chinese market right now is a competitive market, but the size is big. You also have the chance to win. If I give the suggestion to them, I think the one is that you need to localize seriously about your product. You cannot just win by an idea, yeah, because the Chinese mobile industry is very, they keep the eyes on the Silicon Valley. They know everything happened here. Yeah, so they can copy any product and the business model to the Chinese market, and they are very hardworking. So I think you need to have determination on this market. You have to localize your product, and also you need to have a very good local team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like the Inclin, I think, including the also at Uber, they done a very job in the China because they have very localized product and localized the team, I think.
Interesting. Cool. Thanks. Dmitry, let's chat with you a little bit and look at Russia a little bit. And you've talked to me about how the Russian market is very, very different, and in fact, kind of unique, perhaps totally unique globally. What's so different about the Russian mobile and web ecosystem?
Yeah, so Russia is definitely a unique market. So first of all, unlike China, we are completely open to the outside world. So it means that any service can operate freely in Russia. Google is open, Facebook is open, you can freely use it. But at the same time, local companies dominate the market and they compete successfully with global companies. And why does it happen? The answer is very simple. We have lots of very good programmers, lots of engineers, and during Soviet times, Russians used to build like a lot of military space rockets, airplanes, and now we have all these people. Yes. They became programmers. And in social networks, Mail.ru dominates the market. In search, it's Yandex. Almost in every niche, in every big niche in Russia, there is a Russian company that is number one, and Western companies usually they take like second or third place.
Why is that? I mean, obviously we've seen Facebook dominate many nations, many foreign countries. We've seen Google dominate in Europe and Africa, South America. We've seen a lot of American companies dominate when they go into overseas markets, not in Russia. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's because we built our products better for local markets. Cool. For local market, for Russian market, we built a better product than Facebook, a better product than Google. And if you look at our social networks, they have all the same features as Facebook, but they are done in a different way, the way that Russian like them. Some people still use Facebook because they want to talk to their international friends. But when it comes to local communication, usually it's local social networks.
Interesting. So we talked a little bit about whether it's tough for startups or large companies come into to Russia, and you can because it's open, but it's difficult because you don't have a truly localized product from a cultural standpoint and language standpoint. But there are some that have succeeded, and there are some big ones that have failed. Can you talk through a couple examples like that? Uber, maybe Airbnb, Clash of Clans, that sort of thing?
Yeah, Russian market is different, but at the same time it's not as different as, for example, Chinese. So you don't need to rebuild your interface completely in order to launch your app in Russia. All you have, in most cases, just translation from English to Russian will be sufficient.
Yes.
And we see lots of games like Clash of Clans or Crash Candy Saga. They're very successful in Russia. We see Chinese companies with their utilities like Cheetah and 360. They also are very successful in Russia. Alibaba is very popular.
Nice.
So there are many examples. In order to be successful in Russia, there are basically two ways. You either find some local companies that helps you with local marketing.
Yes.
That's because all the marketing tools are local. You can't buy simply traffic from international companies in Russia. You have to deal with companies like Mail.ru, and you can deal with us directly, or you find a local partner like local advertising agencies that can help you. Second option is to acquire a local clone of your product, because usually all popular Western products are copied immediately in Russia.
Yes.
And that's the second way to enter the market. For example, Groupon or BlaBlaCar, they acquired local companies when they entered the market.
Yeah.
But not everybody is successful. For example, Uber, I think he was too late, and it's only number 3 taxi company in Russia.
Yeah.
There are some. I saw some examples of messaging apps and dating apps from China and Western world that didn't succeed as well.
Yes.
Even they spent a lot on marketing, they didn't do it smart enough.
Yes. Yes. So just like in China, successful companies locally in Russia want to expand internationally. So we talked a little bit with Charles about what Mobvista is doing, and talked about some other companies, Alibaba and others like that. Dmitry, you've expanded internationally as well. Can you talk a little bit about what you've done there and what you've learned from that?
Yeah, also we don't have enough room for growth in Russia already. We are too big on the market. And that's why a couple of years ago we decided that every new product we build inside our company, we try to launch it globally and see where it works. We publish most of our mobile products under a separate brand called MyCom.
Yes.
And we already have several pretty successful games. And also our email client, mobile client called MyMail. It's the most popular alternative email client in US already, with millions of users.
Cool. Very, very cool. Charles, on that topic, you said something pretty interesting about unicorns and international growth, and you said something like, over the next decade, that companies that want to be super successful, the top echelon of startups and growing into mature companies, you have to go global. Why'd you say that?
I think the global explosion of the smartphone actually give us a very big opportunity to grow our business globally. Yeah, I think before the establishment of the mobile ecosystem, actually it's very hard for you to sell your product and globally and have a global company. But right now it's much easier. Yeah, such as take example, automobile industry. Toyota, if they want to expand their business beside of Japan, it will take maybe several years and takes a lot of expense.
Yes.
But right now, if you want to promote your app, you just only launch your app in the App Store and the Google Play in any market, and it's very easy. And you can easily to doing the user acquisition through the mobile advertising platform, just like Facebook, Google, absolutely Mobvista. Yeah. So I think it's a very big opportunity for us. The domestic market is small. So if you want to grow fast and you want to grow a big, large company, you need to keep your eyes on the globally business.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about entering China as a foreign company with a product or service that's mobile, and maybe online. A lot of social apps aren't allowed in China. You got Facebook, obviously, but some have been, like LinkedIn. Why is LinkedIn allowed, and why has it been successful in China?
Actually, I don't know why the LinkedIn is allowed, can do the business in China. Maybe it cannot provide so many information compared with the Facebook and Google. But actually, to be honest, LinkedIn is very popular in the Chinese white collar, and I think they done a good job in the points I mentioned before. They have a very good localized product. Yeah, they even developed a new product for the Chinese, especially for Chinese market. And their product has a lot of the cooperation with the WeChat.
Yes.
So if I have a WeChat, I actually can integrate my LinkedIn business card with my WeChat. And also, they have a cooperation with the QQ email.
Yes.
It's the most popular email service. So when I write down an email, actually my LinkedIn business card will show automatically. So they really do a lot of the things on the localization for the product. Besides, they have a very good local team. Yeah, it's around the local leader. They have found very successful CEO with the experience in this industry, and they have give a lot of the trust and the authorization to this guy. Yeah, so I think that's the reason LinkedIn has done a good job in China.
That's super interesting. I mean, obviously local team, right? Local partners, everything, but also integration into locally popular social networks and beyond social networks with the email and chat messaging platforms. Really, really interesting. Supercell is another company that has had some success in China and been quite successful. How did it do that?
I think Supercell maybe found another way. They don't build their own local team, but actually they found a very strong local partner, and they give a lot of authorization to this partner, and that's the reason. Yeah, I don't think it's a instant copy their product to China. They do a lot of the work behind it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Dmitry, let's come back to you and talk a little bit about India. India is a super interesting market for me. It's super interesting for a lot of people in this space, and obviously for a lot of people globally, right? Huge growth potential still, right? Not a huge, maybe not a massive amount of per user revenue potential yet, but you can see that coming in the future. Dmitry, what are your plans in India, and what kind of potential do you see in that country?
Yeah, India is a country with a great potential. They have huge number of users, and it's almost all mobile, but they have no money at the moment. And that's why when we launch our products, we launch them globally, so we try every major market and see if it flies or not. In general, I think that if you look, again, why we are successful in Russia, we build our product with certain specifics for Russian audience. For example, if one of our social networks, it's all based on virtual gifting, and people do a lot of gifts.
All based on what, sorry?
Virtual gifting.
Virtual
gifts.
Gifting,
gotcha. Yeah, gifting, yeah. So it means that like we make 3 times more money on virtual gifts than on advertising.
Nice.
There, and people want themselves to be invisible when they browse other people's profile and so on, and they pay for it. And that's why I think the strategy for a country like India, which is culturally very different from like Western countries, is to try to adopt your service to the Indian market and try to build some features which are important for Indians. For example, I suspect that a dating app in India should have a different strategy because people in India get acquainted in a different way than in Western countries. And you should take into account all these small peculiarities in order to be successful.
I suspect you're talking about dating and marriage.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're building that out. You're going to customize to that culture. Do you have a local team there to help you with that?
No, we don't currently have any local team in India. We build all our products from Russia. But if we see, for example, that there is a huge traction in a certain app, we might open a local office or partner with somebody.
Right. Build it, see what lands, see what flies, see what works, and then follow strength to strength.
Yeah, but we always try like buy some ads in India or even in Iran, for example, or other countries, and see what's going on, if users like it or not.
Yes, cool. What kind of revenue potential do you see in India? I mean, and what kind of horizon do you look at that? Do you look at that with a 2-year, a 5-year, a 10-year horizon?
I think maybe in 10 years, but not earlier.
Okay.
But again, we are used to it. Even in Russia, we spent years on our social products before we started to make a lot of money.
Right.
So we understand that user acquisition comes first.
Yes.
And money is not the first priority.
That's the Facebook lesson too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're also not paying engineers in San Francisco $150,000 US.
True.
That helps.
Definitely.
Excellent. Charles, what about Mobvista in India? What are you doing there? I know you are doing some things there. And what kind of ROI potential do you see there?
Actually, I think we're different because I think it's a different business. We're an advertising platform. We provide the advertising service to the local advertisers and monetization to the local advertisers. I can make the money.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's different. But if you, just like the Milk Dog Room, if you want to buy the users first, and you can make the money from long term with these users. I think in India right now, maybe the ROI is not very good, but it takes the patience. Yeah, it's maybe several years. But I think there's a lot of opportunity in India, absolutely. But right now we have a local team around 5 to 10 employees. Yeah, we have a good ROI.
Well, it's a market of over 1 billion people, right? I mean, if you want to grow and you want to grow globally, you can't ignore that, can you? Yeah. Interesting. Even if there isn't an immediate ROI, but you see it in the future, and your costs of operation in the country might be lower as well, I assume?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, we've talked about a lot of many of the major markets, but we haven't hit North America and Western Europe. And we know that both of your companies have come into North America and come into Western Europe, built products for them, made money there, bought companies, that sort of thing. They're mature markets, but we've also seen evidence that new apps can come into these new markets, new games, new companies can come up very, very quickly. And okay, I'll be the 20th person who mentioned it on stage, and the 3rd time for me personally. Pokemon Go is a prime example, right? Just one example. Charles, when you look at North America, and maybe it's different than Western Europe, maybe it's similar in your mind, I'm not entirely sure. What are the biggest opportunities here?
Actually, I think from the 2013, the Chinese mobile internet company, they're choosing the India and South Asia and North America for their destination to expand their business overseas. But actually, I think after 2 or 3 years, they found actually for those markets, absolutely is an emerging market, and the cost for the user acquisition is cheaper compared with the mature market. But it's very hard to get a good ROI.
Sure, but in Western Europe and in North America, what are some of the opportunities you see there?
It's good. So
yes.
it's very good. So that's why those companies is turning back to the mature market.
I understand.
Yeah, even the user acquisition cost is much higher. Yeah, but they can make the money back. Yeah.
Good. Dmitry, if you look at the same sort of question, what are some of the opportunities that maybe local companies are missing out on when they're in North America or they're in Western Europe? What are they missing out on that maybe you can capitalize on?
US is a very tough market, and in order even to try some idea, you have to spend a lot of money. That's why I think for many apps, it can be a good strategy to try on some other markets where there is a lot of audience, where traffic is relatively cheap, and where you can try all your ideas before you fight for US audience.
Interesting. Are you talking about the sort of traditional game introduction process where maybe you go to New Zealand or Australia or Canada, then you go to the US, or are you talking about something different?
Yeah, but Australia and Canada are already as expensive
yes, they
as
are
US.
expensive.
Yes.
That's why I'm asking.
I think you should take tier 2 countries.
Yes.
And play with them and see what works and what don't. I think, and also if you like look on a longer scale, yes, you might gather, I don't know, million of people in Russia and do not get a lot of revenue right now.
Yes.
But in a few years they will start to pay, because it takes time for users. For example, Russian users, many of them still don't know how to pay on a mobile phone, how to link credit card to their account.
Yes.
Sometimes they're willing to pay, they just don't know how to do it. And in 2 years they will learn, and you're already on their phone, so you start making money just a little bit later.
Excellent. Very good. I'm going to ask both of you to glance into your crystal ball a moment. Both of you are part of global organizations that are not based or from North America, but have significant stakes here, but significant stakes across the entire planet. Look into your crystal ball for a moment into the future. It's 2020. What does mobile look like? Maybe we'll start with you, Charles, and then go to Dmitry.
2020,
yes.
Yeah, it's a long term.
4 years from now.
Yeah, our plan just in maybe next year. Yeah. I think maybe 4 to 5 years ago, I'm not sure the smartphone will dominate the market. Maybe there's another hardware.
Yes. On your face, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Wrist.
Yeah, so we're preparing, maybe for VR and a new totally hardware up here, and to actually display the advertising. Yeah, so this industry actually changes very quickly, so it's really hard to say what is happening in the next 5 years.
Your biggest skill has to be adapting to change really, really quickly and inventing it, right?
Yeah.
Good. Dmitry, same question.
It's a hard question. I think that probably people will text much less, so it will be more like audio and video exchange. AR, VR probably will become a big thing as well. I think if you talk about advertising, it will be more and more performance-oriented, even for brands.
Yes.
I think that offline data will be used in advertising a lot, and that's what will make it performance-based for brands. And e-commerce probably will also move to mobile, something like this.
Yes, excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you so much, Dmitry. Really do appreciate you being here. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.